for your patient hearing, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Uday. The morning session would come to an end with a way forward, a short address by our incoming President, Mr. Sutanu Ghosh. May I ask Mr. Ghosh to conclude the morning session now.
Dignitaries on and off the dais, we commenced this session in the morning but have morphed into the afternoon, so good afternoon. Deb, thank you. I am aware that I'm running the anchor here, and as you can see, I'm absolutely no Usain Bolt by any figment of imagination. And I'm aware that we are about 20 minutes late, but I'll try and do justice to this because of two reasons. One, I have been in this position several times before, and two, more importantly, the way forward has already been defined by all my predecessors. So all I'm going to be doing right now is a very short capsule of what has been spoken and presented earlier. I think coal is going to be the mainstay of India's power. That writing is very clear. And hence, I think the call of the hour is clean technology. Clean technology for coal generation, clean technology for power generation. By clean technology, I think we refer to technological advancement and upgradation and enhancement, along with other at-source solutions, and then the residual environmental parameters need to be cleaned up with end-of-the-pipe solutions. Sorry. All this while we attempt to gravitate towards renewables, nuclear, etc. You see, you're all aware that this needs to be done because God has designed a few things which challenges man's prowess. In India, some of our very, very richest mineral deposits are overlain by the richest of forests containing even medicinal herbs. So we need to bind the two through appropriate technologies. That said, while we gravitate towards renewables and nuclear et al., we need to equalize that cost curve in doing so. Now on to the climate change issue and the global scenario. I think we need to monitor very closely at regular periodicities how are we meeting the targets for carbon intensity growth, the renewable target that we have set, which would be discussed in this platform as well in the afternoon, of 175 GW. Where are we going in those two yardsticks across time? Because only that monitoring result will lead to further actions to be initiated in that regard. And finally, I think we, all of us, all the countries, need to be transparent in their actions, share their outputs, review their outputs, and move forward, as climate change can be addressed only on a collective basis and not by any singular actions. I think, ladies and gentlemen, that could be the way forward which I could draw from all my speakers that I have heard before in the morning session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sutanu. Thank you very much indeed. May I request our President, Ambarish, to please, as a token of appreciation, give mementos to the distinguished speakers this morning. To Jonathan Ward, sir, may we request you, Mr. Partho Bhattacharya, please. To Mr. Anil Razdan, Razdan Saab, please. To Mr. Debashish Gupta, may I request our incoming President, Mr. Shutanu Ghosh, to please hand over the memento to Mr. Santosh Kamath. And then on to Mr. Uday Mehta. Thank you very much. A big thanks to the audience and to the distinguished speakers in the morning session. We now break up for lunch. There will be an interactive session on the deliberations that went on in the morning session in the afternoon session. So we commence the afternoon session sharp at 2:30. So may I request all of you to reassemble by 2:25, please. Thank you very much. Enjoy lunch.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome you all to the post-lunch session of the 9th edition of the Energy and Environment Conclave. You are requested to please take your seats. The speakers are here with us. We will be able to commence the session as soon as possible. If you could please take your seats. I would request Mr. Arun Kumar Mukherjee, Chairperson Emeritus, Energy and Environment Committee, the Bengal Chamber, to please escort the speakers of this session to the dais. Mr. Ashok Kumar Goswami, Whole-Time Director, India Power Corporation Limited. Dr. R.R. Sonde, Chief Technology Officer and Executive Vice President, Research, Innovation and Technology, Thermax Limited. Dr. Bikas Sinha, Homi Bhabha Professor, former Director, Shah Institute of Nuclear Physics and Variable Energy Cyclotron Center, Department of Atomic Energy, Government of India. Mr. Shirishesh Garur, Director EETD, that is Energy Environment Technology Development Division, the Energy and Resources Institute, TERI. Mr. Sriram Kuchimanchi, Founder and Principal, Smarter Therma. Sriram will join us. May I request Mr. Arun Kumar Mukherjee to please start the session.
Hello. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Because of the convenience and the relevance of both the session, this session generating cost-effective power in the context of progressive technology, and the next session is how feasible is the renewable target of 175 gigawatt by 2022. We have merged together. We are going to conduct both the program together. And the speakers have already been named and they are in the dais. Yeah. In the morning session, we have heard from almost all the speakers regarding availability of reliable and 24/7 power, which will be affordable at the level of the consumer. Now, consumer could be individual, consumer could be industry. So this session is, first two speakers are going to address the affordability or how much the cost saving can be obtained in the generation process or while running the business, power business in India. If we look at the present situation in the country, we know last year we had only 65% of the plant load factor available, which was the lowest in last 15 years of power plant operation in India. Now, that is not due to the non-availability of the demand or non-availability of the power from the generating company, but that's because the distribution company could not purchase the power to meet up the demand of the consumers. Now, if we look at the situation, financial situation of the DISCOM in the country, the total cumulative losses as of today is around 3.4 lakh crore, and the loan taken by all the DISCOM put together is around 4.3 lakh crore. In fact, when you see the NPA, which is being talked about by most of the public sector banks, the power sector loan which was disbursed comes as one of the major item in their NPA list. So the issue is that unless and otherwise the financial health of the DISCOM are improved, they will not be able to buy the power from the generator and they will not be able to distribute it. Now, this is one of the very major problem. On the other hand, the government of India is very firmly pushing ahead the GDP growth rate of 8%, around 8%, 7 to 8% per year, and accordingly all the development plan in the infrastructure area and industrial area, everything are going ahead as per the intent of the government. Now, in any developing country, the economic growth directly depends on the growth of the electricity consumption. Because if you look at any activity in the infrastructure area or the initiatives to push these objectives like Make in India or digitalization of India, all these initiatives will move only when the power will be available, uninterrupted power will be available 24/7. Now, unless and otherwise this power will be affordable, it will not move. So, if all our objectives or goal of the growth in the economic area will remain unfulfilled. Now, if we look at it, that if we have to make it affordable and if we have to change the health of the DISCOM, then certain initiatives are required. Now, from the government side, already there is an initiative which has been taken in the program of Uday. Through that program, the interest burden of the DISCOMs are going to be reduced. There will be liquidity available with them in their coffers, and they will be able to improve the buying condition of in their operation. Also, through Uday, it is expected, or the program is made in a manner so that the efficiency in the operation and the wastages in the operating process are improved and removed simultaneously. Also, the cost of power is going to be reduced because of the availability of the fund in their hand. Because when the demand goes up and they will be able to buy it at their cost, it is expected that the cost will come down. But in the long run, when we consider the sustainable, affordable availability of reliable power, we have to look at the complete value chain of the power industry. And in that value chain, which starts right from the power plant equipment manufacturer to the power plant generator, to the transmission company, distribution company, and other stakeholders who are associated with them. If you look at the complete value chain, the price will only then affordable when in this value chain, individual value chain, the business process which they follow will improve their efficiency and they will be able to cut down the cost in those processes. The major cost, if we look at it, is really not with the generator, but there is a huge cost added because of the transmission distribution loss. There is a initiative already which is going on with all the DISCOM to cut it down and restrict it to 15%, which is otherwise on an average it is varying between DISCOM to DISCOM up to 30%, 40%, depending on the which state it is getting operated. But when it comes to the challenge of the COP21 commitment, that today the generator has to generate the power with the linkages of environmental commitment. That means he will be able to generate the power maintaining the carbon dioxide emission to a particular level. And in that step, the first action which has been taken by the government is to enforce the new emission rules by which the drastically the emission norms of carbon dioxide, SOx and NOx have been reduced. For the existing old plants, there is one norm, and for the new plants, those further stricter norms have been implemented. For the generator in our country, where we are generating as of today around say 2 lakh, 1.72 lakh megawatt through power plant, thermal power plant. The challenge will be how to meet these new emission norms. So there is a huge investment required which will be addressed, which will be explained by one of the friend here, that who is running the industry and how he is going to manage the new norms in the existing plant. Because in the existing plant, it is estimated approximately 15 to 20% of the capex will be required of the cost of the power plant. The space is required, and then only they will be allowed to operate the old plant. So for the new plants are concerned, we are looking at various new technology. So for boilers are concerned, you have heard of supercritical. There is a ultra supercritical. In the hydro side, there is a further development in the turbine blade for improvement of efficiency, and particularly in Indian condition where the hydro power plant have to face lot of stoning, during the flood. Lot of stone comes from the hills and that damages the turbine blades. How to deal with that? So in that area there is a technology development going on, and that is required. Advanced gas turbine like H-frame, refinery residue based IGCC. Our Indian coal is having very high ash content, so because of that most of the emission problem India is going to face. Now there is one way out through IGCC. Now that is, this IGCC is going to be based on Indian high ash coal, and there is another technology which is based on imported coal, where the ash content is low and the calorific value is higher. Then coal bed methane, which is HR is doing that business in Asansol, and they have recently announced additional 1,000 crore investment because they are very confident of commercialization of their existing coal bed methane operation. There are enough scope of further developing it, and that can be improved. Mining of coal from seams greater than 300 meter. Shale gas, which has created a huge change in the fuel security in US, and we also have the possibility of generating shale gas that can be explored. Then in the transmission distribution side, we can utilize the new generation transformer like HVDC, HVAC and amorphous core transformer, which can improve the reliability, which can also reduces the losses. On the end use side, there are huge number of process plant where there is a possibility of utilizing cogeneration power. And in those cases, the process can be looked at from the point of view of how the heat can be extracted and can be converted into the power. On the demand side, we know already somebody has made the presentation in the morning that through smart grid and smart metering, we can control the demand side requirement and we can take care of the peaking problem in the system. Generally, the peak load in India varies between 6 to 10%. And there are options available, which was explained by our Honorable Minister, Power Minister in the morning, that we have the pump storage in Purulia and we are developing more. And that model is getting implemented in other states in the country to take care of the peak loading. If peak loading can be taken care of, a lot of investment in this area can be avoided. As per the Power Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, there is an investment required about $1 trillion to take our aspiration forward and meet the energy demand in 2030. That means making the power available to everybody in India 24/7 reliably and affordably. There are other areas also. Now this whole thing is going to push the existing business model on which the companies are operating. And what is expected that the new business model may come out over a period of time to address all the challenges. I would request Dr. Sonde to address some of these technology area in your speech. May I now request Mr. Goswami to share your thoughts in running a private sector power generating company, meeting the goal and objective of the government of affordable, reliable power 24/7. Thank you.
Dignitaries on the dais and ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. I know this is very difficult time for me because you just had lunch and come back to this session, but still I will